All right, so tonight's topic is don't let a pre-printed error blow up your commission. What does that really mean? So, when it comes to reading a notarial certificate, spotting pre-printed errors, it's important for us to pay attention to what we have control over, understanding what our powers are when we are working on any document that we're going to notarize. It's very important for you to know exactly, again, what to pay attention to. Our manual pretty much goes over the guidelines, but just to refresh your memory, I like to have these topics of discussion so you can actually be a little bit more aware and making sure that you're doing everything you need to do to actually stay on top of everything. Okay. So, our responsibility as a notary, we have to make sure when it comes to the rule, we are the official in the position as far as being a public officer. And when it comes to the notarial certificate, this portion of a record belongs to us. Okay, we are the ones that are responsible for making sure everything is completed the way it's supposed to be before we apply our signature and seal. So when it comes to being compliant, a notary is a public officer of the state of North Carolina and must act in full and strict compliance with the Notary Public Act. So as long as we're doing just that, we're following the law and we should be fine. When it comes to critical restrictions, we are strictly prohibited from executing a notarial certificate that contains information we know or believe to be false. So that is something, again, when we're safeguarding exactly what our positions are, you can refer to General Statutes 10B, 3, 12, and 10B, 22A. If you go to the pull up North Carolina General Statutes, you can definitely go through and download the entire section so that you can always have a copy to refer to. A lot of the statutes are in our manual. However, this can be a quick way of getting straight to it when you're seeing something to refer back to it. Okay. So all of those things will help you when you pay attention to where the information is that is lawful, that is factual, where we're not guesstimating or trying to take someone's word for it. We can pull it up for ourselves. Then when it comes to the venue, the where does matter. Um, Many out of state documents arrive with the venue that has the state and county already typed in, which is incorrect for us if we're, of course, in North Carolina and it's a different state document. So if it has state of Virginia, then this is the way you have to fix it. You must ensure the certificate identifies the state and county in which the notarial act actually occurred, not where it was drafted. Okay, that has nothing to do with where we currently are as a notary to notarize the document for the customer. So you have to always keep those things in mind. Many times I see a lot of notaries in a lot of the groups asking, do I put my commission, the county that I'm commissioned in the venue, or where I'm actually meeting the customer? And it's going to always be where you're currently standing. Where we are commissioned at, as far as county, that is for the record. So the Secretary of State can have some identifiable place of where we're supposed to be residing at or working in as far as business wise when we place our commission in that particular county. So there's 100 counties in the state of North Carolina. You should only have one that you're commissioned in when you are actually going through your term. If you move, you will need to also report that information to the Secretary of State so they can update the information on your record. Now, it's not going to change for that term, but once you actually renew your commission, then that's when that venue, your commission, will actually be updated as far as what county you're currently now in if you move. But things will stay consistent when it comes to how things were when you first got commissioned in the county that was on record. But if anything changes within that 5 year term, it's usually going to remain that way when you're notarizing documents until you recommission and go through the oath again. Okay, so that is something that you want to keep in mind. I'm still allowing some folk come in, so let me try to toggle here. And so then when it comes to fixing it, you must ensure the certificate identifies the state and county in which the notarial act actually occurred, and then the correction method. You want to line through the incorrect information, again, a one thin line, initial the change, and write the correct North Carolina county where you are physically standing. That is how we correct any error on our notarial certificate. Again, that is something that we only have the authority to correct is the certificate, but nothing above that document that belongs to the signer. All right, that we're there to witness the signature for. So again, we want to make sure that we know exactly where we supposed to focus on when it comes to how we do any corrections is based on our notarial certificate. And you can go to North Carolina General Statutes, Chapter 10B, paragraph 40B1, and also 40C1. All right. And then when it comes to the act, it could be a mismatch where it comes to be an acknowledgement versus a jurat. So you have to really be attentive to what is being said on the document. And I've come across this several times because I don't know who may have drafted the document in the beginning, but when it comes to how the when it comes to some of the information, it says when it comes to a sworn statement and then the certificate may say acknowledgement is like, okay, that is a problem because the document says this person is supposed to be sworn based on their statement. And if that's the case, that supersedes what that word at the bottom may say. So again, we have to make sure that we're taking the time to pay attention to know what we can and cannot do. So if the error says the certificate wording describes an acknowledgement certifying a signature, but the document requires an oath or an affirmation certifying a vow or truthfulness. The way to fix this is you must use the correct statutory certificate wording. If notarial certificate wording is not provided and you are not an attorney, you cannot determine the type of act. You must ask the signer to choose or provide the correct form. Now, how does that work? You may have a document that doesn't have a notarial certificate at all and a person says, well, I need to get this notarized. Well, in that case, there's no notarial certificate displayed. We would need to have them choose from a loose certificate that we should have on our person. Okay, that's something you should always make sure you have enough on your in your in your toolkit is your jurats as well as your acknowledgments. So they can choose when a situation comes about where there is not the proper notarial certificate or may not be one in existence. Okay. They have to choose which one they prefer. We cannot choose from them, I mean, for them. We cannot tell them which one to choose. That is not something we can do because that would be considered an authorized practice of law. So we have to always make sure we're never crossing that limitation of what our power is because that can put us in another situation of violating the law that we do not want to be a part of. So we will always give them the choice and let them know that we can't choose for them. If they ask what is the difference, we can define what an acknowledgement is versus what a jurat is for an oath and affirmation. Those are definitions we can tell them, but we still can't choose for them. All right. Many times, again, people who are doing something for the very first time, they're trying to get as much guidance as they can because they don't want to make any mistakes. Well, we don't want them to make mistakes either, but we don't want to also violate the law. So we have to stay in our position at all times. We can let them know they can talk to or consult legal advice, but we are not ones that we can actually give that information or advice to. So we just want to make sure that we always stay within the limits of what we can and cannot do and make it very clear so there's no confusion with the party that we're trying to assist in this way. And so you can go to the North Carolina General Statutes 10B20 paragraph M or 10B 40 paragraph A1. So you can always refer to those chapters to actually see what does the general statute say. Then when it comes to the date and the name trap, all right, the error could be the certificate has a pre-filled date that does not match the day the signer appeared before you. Now that can happen very easily if someone is expecting the signer to take the document and get it taken care of that day. Well, something may come across where they are not able to meet that time, and it may be later on in the week. So the fix would be A notarization certifies that the individual appeared in person at a single time and place. We must ensure the certificate states the actual date the act was performed. So if it is actually pre-filled on the day that they supposed to have physically appeared before us, and it was days before and not today's date, we have to again mark through with a thin line and then put our initials and write the correct date. All right. So again, that is our responsibility to make sure that information is correct and accurately written on there. And then when it comes to the compliance factor, performing a notarial act, if the principal is not in your presence, it is a class one misdemeanor when it comes to if we move forward with notarizing something that a person is not there in front of us. Again, this is one of the number one errors, I should say not errors, but criminal acts that happen with notaries all the time. And it's unfortunate that this is happening to this day. But again, no one's above the law, not even attorneys or judges. So when it comes to making sure that we're doing everything based on exactly what the law says is that important that we do exactly that, because that can be a problem, especially when, again, a person cannot be in more than one place at one time. So this is one of the reasons why we need to write down exactly date and time, location in our journals, so we can have as much information on exactly when this notarial act took place. And you can refer to the North Carolina General Statutes 10B3, 10B60C1. And then we're going to always go back through the fees and the signatures. Handwritten signatures. When notarizing a paper record, you must sign by hand and ink. Facsimile stamps or electronic printing on paper records are prohibited. Okay, that can be found on North Carolina General Statutes 10B35. And then when it comes to what our fees are, and again, this has been in effect since July of 2022. However, depending on if a person is grandfathered in and they do not have to take the exam and they're just having to do the application, if they are not really paying attention and keeping up with all of the changes, they may still think it's $2 or $3 per signature or $5. But again, things have changed drastically for us in a good way that we can charge up to $10 per signature that we're witnessing when it comes to notarizing that particular signer. And this can be found in General Statutes 10B31.1. So again, all of this is very important for you guys to keep up with exactly what we can and cannot do, how we need to charge properly, so we not put ourselves in a situation of overcharging. A lot of people are doing that when they are saying, "Oh, I'm gonna add an administrative fee or a convenience fee." That does not exist for us as notaries here in the state of North Carolina. That is something that you have to understand if you're going to put yourself out there to service anyone. Is voluntarily done. So it's not up to them or you telling them, well, it's inconvenient for me to come out at midnight. Are you advertising that you're 24/7? If you're advertising that you're 24/7, that has nothing to do with them saying, that you are being inconvenienced. If that's what you're saying that you are doing and you're offering services throughout the entire day and night. So this is why it's very mindful, or it's very important that you do not be one of these notaries that says you're operating 24/7 unless you have staff members that are doing first, second, and third shifts as a notary, and that's very rare. Then you should not have that false advertisement out there, because again, people are only going by what your word says when they're coming across your information online. So please update that information if that's you, so that you will not be lying to people about your time of availability. People need notaries throughout the day and at night. So when it comes to when they need you, just make sure that your information is factually actually visible, and not again trying to get customers just because it looks good. No, you really want to be honest in the information that you're actually putting out there, because people will start complaining if there's an issue with them getting you during the time that you said that you're available. All right. So when it comes to the compliance tip that I want to share, Scrutiny is your best defense. Always cross out or mark through all blank lines or spaces in a certificate before signing to prevent unauthorized changes. And again, you can refer to North Carolina General Statutes 10B, paragraph 20O. Now, scrutiny. Who all paid attention to the word of the day? And tell me exactly what definition you came across when it came to the word. I just want to know who's actually paying attention and who's attentive in the group because I usually give a word of the day on every Tuesday. You can raise your hand. The raise hand feature is at the top. I have no takers. No one's looked at my post today. It's usually around 12:30 when the word of the day comes through. I am disappointed, but okay, we'll go on. So, if you have not registered for our 2-day Notary Basics Accelerated workshop, you still have time. We have the ones in Greensboro, which is going to be April the 17th and 18th, July 24th and 25th, October the 23rd and 24th. When it comes to the Notary Basics Accelerated workshops, these are ideal for those of you that have just come out of the first class and became commissioned for your first time or in your first term. And those that really do want to learn how to properly identify and notarize an acknowledgement versus a jurat, which is an oath and affirmation. You have over 16 documents that you will be able to work with. We will be doing hands-on training where you will actually do notarization exercises for 8 or more documents during the time that we're meeting in person. So this gives you an opportunity to not just have a resource of a lot of documents to refer to, but really being able to do the exercise to get the confidence built that you deserve to do your job. I want to make sure I can help notaries be more proficient and efficient in what they do because the public are relying on our knowledge. They don't know what we don't know. They just expect us to know how to do our jobs well so they won't be delayed in any of their important legal documentation that needs to be taken care of. So again, I want to make sure I can help you guys become the best notaries you possibly can, working in excellence. And this is a way of doing so is going through this class. I also have online virtual classes as well, which are May 22nd through the 23rd. August 21st and 22nd, and then November the 20th and 21st. There is a class or a workshop every month whether it's going to be in Greensboro, online, or another area. So I have expanded my touch to 4 other areas in the state of North Carolina this year, one being in Fayetteville, March 27th and 28th at the end of this month. I'm very excited about that. I had a lot of notaries in Cumberland County speaking to me, asking me, can you put one together, be closer to us? Well, again, as long as y'all come and show up, I'm going to be there. But again, that's the caveat. I have to have enough people to say, okay, I'm going to be there so I can make sense of taking everything there to you guys. So that's a 3-hour drive for me. I don't like to drive long distance, but I am willing to do that if I have enough notaries that really do want to get the education. Okay. And then I'll be in Morehead City during 26th and 27th, and that's a much longer drive. Okay. So again, as long as I'll be there. And then we have September the 25th through the 26th, I'll be in Asheville. So again, all of these are different places where, depending on where you're at, it may be more ideal for you to wait for me to be closer to you in these areas. And then finally, at the end of this month, at the end of this year, I'll be here in my, so I can actually now be home at the end of the year. But again, you guys can actually find ways to make it to the either the online or the in-person opportunity. So I look forward to seeing hopefully a lot of you there for those that are able to make it. So we're going to come back the the group to see if there's any questions you may have as far as what we covered today when it comes to the subject of what do we need to be paying attention to? And I have Monica. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry about that, but I was putting up groceries. I didn't want to answer your question because I was letting everybody get a chance, but your word was security. So that's what your word was of the day, security.
Now security was scrutiny.
Oh, it was scrutiny? Oh, I thought it was
Yes.
security.
So I was wondering if anyone read the scrutiny so they can tell me exactly what scrutiny means and
Where I
how
get
they'll be using
security
it.
from?
Huh?
I was trying to think, where did I get security from?
Well, it still starts with an S.
Hmm. Okay.
Thank you, Monica. And so now we have Dave and then Alyssa.
Hello. On the subject of documents where the document mismatches the certificate, one document that you've talked about several times before that I think is an unfortunate example of that is the true copy affidavit on the Secretary of State website. In the body, it says that the principal swears or affirms, but the certificate is just an acknowledgement certificate, and it says nothing about the principal having sworn or affirmed.
Yes, and so that is something that I'm hoping they will update so it can actually correlate with what it says it's supposed to do. But as you can see, that is something that's coming from the legislation because it's right also in statute how it's written. So yeah, that's something that I would love for them to try to update for us. Thank you,
You're
Dave.
saying the true copy affidavit is in a statute somewhere?
When it comes to I apologize, I'm thinking about the acknowledgement and the jurat. So with the true copy, I'm not sure exactly how it was actually created for us or whom actually did that, if it was someone on their legal team, but that is something I would like to actually get more information about.
If Secretary of State did it, it's sort of an embarrassing error.
Yes, and that's something I definitely know they would take into account. So that's something I would just have to ask them because I really don't know how and when that can be actually updated and who would be a part of that update. So that is something I will speak with or send something to Ozzy about so he can look into that a little bit more.
Would you recommend that if one of us is presented with a true copy affidavit that looks like the one from the Secretary of State website, that we change the certificate?
Say that one more time.
If someone comes to us with a true copy affidavit and they want to sign it in front of us and have it notarized, and they're using the form from the Secretary of State website, would you recommend that we edit or change the certificate to reflect that it's a jurat?
Well, this is the thing. I would rather have them do the update because that would be almost like UPL. Because we are not an attorney, even though we know the verbiage, what it says. And so I would just go by exactly what the certificate says. I would again bring that to the Secretary of State's attention to see if there's something they need to update, which we know they should, to make it very clear on exactly what type of certificate it should be. So it would not be confusing when it comes to what we understand in the words meaning when it comes to the signer directly. So that is something that I will ask them when it comes to how they need us to actually approach that.
I just
Melinda,
looked, their
I'm sorry.
certificate for a general affidavit is correct. The principal swears or affirms, and the certificate says they've sworn or affirmed. So they're batting at least 50%. Okay, thank you.
Belinda,
Yes.
this is Tina. The true copy, it's not real, it's an affidavit on behalf of the person signing it. So if you notice on the true copy, there's a line in the middle, right? So it's separating. We're acknowledging that that person signed, swore, or affirmed that that is a true copy. We're not saying in the bottom, it says they personally appeared before me and signed this document and acknowledged the execution of the foregoing document. So there's like a divider on the true copy.
Right.
So I think that's an affirmation for them, because remember, we can't certify that, right? We can't, they have to be the ones that are saying that this document is a true copy with no alterations.
Right.
So
The thing
they
is,
sign it in front of us. We acknowledge them signing that document. You see what I'm saying?
right, but from what Dave's point is, the fact of them not being sworn under oath, when they're actually going through before they sign it, that
Mhm.
acknowledgement is not a direct for us, which probably should, because that means they would perjure themselves if they're lying intentionally about what is taking
Mhm.
place at that time, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So, and that's why most jurettes are created, is to make sure that it holds the same weight as if they were in the court of law under oath. And so, all we can do is just again go through that process to make sure that they are under oath. But this document doesn't have us do that, even though the words at the top says that they're actually swearing, or having an oath of saying this stuff is the information is true. And again, we're just acknowledging everything, which is a different situation when it comes to what an acknowledgement is for versus an actual direct. So yeah, it's again, that's a great conversation. I will be bringing it to Oz's attention this week. So thank you both, Dave and Tina. Alyssa, you have your hand up.
Yes. Thank you. How are you today, Miss Belinda? It's nice. Good to see you. I didn't. And my apologies. I didn't look at the word of the day. So I mean, of course, we kind of figured out what scrutiny is. I haven't been on Facebook since just now. I just looked at it just now. Um,
Okay.
yeah. But I wanted to ask. I seem like I heard you say, and I just want to, just for my clarification, if we're in, say, if we're signing in Wake Forest, and we say we're in Wake Forest, if we go to say Clayton or Johnston County, we put Johnston County, right? You said where we are standing. So if we're standing in Johnston County, we say the county is Johnston. We don't say it's Wake County because that's where my commission is. But we're in Johnston County, correct? Just because
That is
I think I
correct.
may have heard you wrong. Okay. I just
Yeah,
wanted to,
wherever your feet is at the time of notarization is the
yeah.
county that you record.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I heard that correctly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
No problem at all. All right. Any other questions or comments or observations from tonight's topic of discussion, or any questions in general? Okay, so off topic, we have our sovereign citizens webinar coming up on the 23rd of this month. So who's going to be there? Has any of you guys signed up for that time that we'll be meeting with Captain Flowers? He's in Greensboro, and he is really, really good when it comes to just kind of giving us some insight on what to watch for when it comes to sovereign citizens. This is something that is touched in our manual, but not in depth. And to actually have him being able to break some things down, even down to some celebrities that are part of the sovereign citizens, is very helpful, in my opinion. That, if you have not been a part of or seen anything, to understand sovereign citizens, to be there. There's a lot of sovereign citizens. They're a group of people. You may hear the word Moorish. Anyone that has the last name L or Bay, they are usually a part of that quote unquote movement. And many times they're looking for notaries to do things for them, to notarize things that don't need to be notarized. And we don't want to be caught up in that mess. It's very important for you to know how to shield yourself to deal with anyone that maybe through that type of group that may try to deceive you to notarize certain things for them. They make it look and sound so innocent of, oh, you have the power to do this, this, and this because you're a notary, but everything that they stand for is against what notaries do. So is this really an oxymoron to me when it comes to how they go about their belief and then how they want to entangle themselves with a notary. So I would encourage you guys to read, study, understand, because at some point in time, you're going to come across someone that is in that classified group of people. I've known someone when I was working in property management. We were cordial, me and their family. And then within the last, I would say about 5 years ago, they came to me asking me to notarize it was something called a presentment. And I'm like, when they were explaining it to me, I was trying to identify what this document was. And so I was like, this don't sound familiar. But then when they went on to say, well, I just need you to be there at court with me to tell the judge that you saw me put this in the envelope and actually mail it off. And I'm like, that's not what notaries do. I'm like, that is nothing I'm notarizing. So you're telling me to actually witness something and be someone to actually witness a physical act. That is not part of my job. So no, I can't do that for you. And so again, some people, some notaries may feel that that is something that they have the obligation to do, and it's not. So again, you just want to make sure you're understanding exactly what you need to know, so you know how to position yourself when you have to say no, I cannot do that. And not feel intimidated, because sometimes you have some very aggressive people and you may feel a bit intimidated to do some things that you should not be doing. So the more you know, the better you'll be when it comes to knowing how to stand firm on the laws that protect us as a notary public. Okay, any other comments, statements? We have about 21 minutes.
Now, where is that for that video for that
Oh,
meeting? No. Mhm.
it's going to be on Zoom. Registration. Monica, can you share that information?
I just put it right there, North Carolina Notary Association. You wanted more than that?
Is it going to take them straight to the webinar to sign up? Let me see.
That's the website, yes.
Okay, let me find, it's under training classes. So let me actually take you straight to it.
No, it says it says upcoming virtual training on sovereign citizens. It says register here.
Okay, so yes, great. Thank you, Monica.
Mhm.
So you want to go there. It's only 2 hours from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we try to have it around the time frame that most everyone would be home from work if you do first shift. And of course, there will be a replay available as well. But again, the more that you can come to actually be a part of the conversation, the better, because a lot of your questions can be answered live from Captain Flowers directly. So again, he definitely is someone that you can actually enjoy listening to. He knows how to work a room, even a stage, in person or even a webinar. So he's really he loves what he does. You can tell it when it comes to how his energy is. So I really do love his presentation. So again, this will be a great bonus for you guys to really be more aware and using this for your social media posts to help others understand, what we can and cannot do as a notary, as well as how to look out for certain signs, because this group of people are also known for deed fraud. And as you know, that's a huge issue of crime, what's going on in the world is people stealing other people's property just because they're getting other people involved in having these deeds notarized that is unlawful. And unfortunately, a lot of people are being victimized and having to go through a lot to actually even recover their property if they are able to recover it. So again, all of this is very, very important and very helpful for you to actually understand how to position yourselves if it occurs to you. Andrea, when it comes to the AAN and NNA, you may just want to look at the acronyms. The NNA is the National Notary Association. That is separate from, and I'm not sure what the AAN is. And it's probably the American something notaries, but it's another organization that's separate. So they all have their information online, though, when it comes to breaking down who is who. NNA is usually the company you may want to actually do your signing agent certification to be nationally known. So that is, again, you have signing services that's throughout the U.S. that are through the NNA or looks at NNA as a high regard when it comes to their exam for this particular type of class. But I actually do it here for the state level because the NNA does not cover state law for any of the 50 states beyond California. I will say that much. They are based in California, so they know California state laws, but they are not well versed in all the other states. And so I teach being a signing agent for the state of North Carolina because of us being an attorney state, breaking down the history of why we can do what we do and how you can position yourself as a signing agent and do very well if you know how to position yourself. So that is something that I bring to the table on additional trainings. All right, so I see a few people say they have signed up. Wonderful. So I guess I'll be seeing you guys a few times this month. Okay, I'm not sure who just raised their hand. Was it Dave, Sanita, or Tina? Because I have 3 hands up.
It doesn't matter, whichever one can go
Go ahead,
first.
Sanita.
Question. So the North Carolina Notary Association, do you think that's beneficial to become a member, and what and how will it benefit us?
So from my experience, it's only beneficial if you're wanting to get the national recognition and you're working with different signing services. That's what they bring to the table is a lot of recognition there, but still you have to position yourself to show that you experienced. And a lot of these companies that are trying to vet you to work with them, you're going to still have the variations of these signing services that may give you some type of competency test to actually work with them. But it's all about your area of where you're working at, if they're doing business in your local region, to actually give you an opportunity to work with them anyway. So it depends on what you're looking, um, what you're looking for when it comes to how you position yourself as a signing agent, or just knowing how you can generally notarize documents. That's something that I feel most notaries are skipping. They become a notary to become a signing agent versus becoming a notary to become a real good notary. That to me, again, is a disconnect. And so, if you do not know how to really notarize documents in general, I would not encourage anyone to jump to a signing agent position when you're having the responsibility of so much more than what you will have to be responsible for on the general level. And that would be the best way of me hoping to answer your question. As far as it's beneficial based on what that person's aim is and their goal is for being a signing agent.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Dave, did you have another statement or question?
I have a North Carolina notary trivia question. Approximately how many notaries are there commissioned in North Carolina?
Okay, I'm not going to answer that question because I know the answer. Who else wants to take a stab at it? Anybody? Letitia, you can do
That
it.
one's low.
25,000? Is that too high? 25,000?
No, that's not
No.
high enough.
What? Okay. I don't know.
50,000.
So Dave, is it still around 185K?
Yeah, about that. I knew the approximate number because I watched, I think, 2 different videos with Secretary Marshall. At least one of them was from Notary Day, and she said a number that was around 200,000, 200,000. But last week I called and was speaking to one of the notary representatives at Secretary of State because I was trying to find someone and I couldn't find them and confirm notary status, and I thought they might have some additional ways to search, and she couldn't find them either. And then somehow the conversation led to her saying, well, there's 2 million notaries in North Carolina. And I said, I didn't tell her why I thought it was 200,000, 200,000. I just said, well, I, I'd heard it was 200,000. And she said, no, 2 million. And I just said, well, that could explain why it's hard to keep confirmed notary status up to date. But they were inflating by about a factor of 10. But yeah, it's like 187 was one of the numbers. And then it went down a little bit for a couple of years and then it's coming back up. So there's a lot, but you clearly have the best 16 on the phone here.
Thank you, Dave. So yeah, on average, it's about 185,000 notaries. Factoring in, a lot of those notaries are working for the court systems and law firms. You have a lot of paralegals that are notaries. So when you're dealing with who does what, you have a lot of those that are stationary based on the companies or agencies they work for, and then you have us independent notaries that are not attached to a business that is performing or us performing notarizations for them. So it makes a big difference. And when you hear people say it's the market is saturated, that is something that I just really cringe to hear because to me, there's no such thing. There's things that you're willing to do lawfully that others are not. So you just have to know that you should be in competition with yourself. It's good to know exactly who's doing what out there, just so that you can actually know how you can better serve those that you're actually wanting to notarize for. Again, positioning yourself and paying attention on what you can do to level up is the most brilliant thing you can possibly do and concentrate on. Again, if you start concerning yourself from what other people are doing, you probably never do anything. So again, it's just remove all of those negativities out of your head and just know what you bring to the table. What is your unique value proposition? That is something that I ask those that I coach. That's one of the questions that I ask for them to start thinking about what is it that they can do that's different that others don't do. And so again, that is something that you want to start focusing on. Create you a business plan. Business planning is one of the things that's going to help you know your direction. If you're wanting to create a business as a notary, to actually do this on a different level, you can do that. But you want to do your research. You want to do your market research to know exactly, again, who's doing what. UPS stores, they have notaries, but the majority of these notaries are breaking the law every single day. So you want to be one that is not breaking the law because eventually, just like FedEx, UPS is probably going to get shut down from doing notary work because of all the violations they're doing every single day. Case law is something that you guys can benefit from to understand what type of situation has went to court and how did it what was the outcome, and once you can understand exactly what went wrong, how to not be a part of that issue, that can help you in a lot of ways. So again, I research a lot of things over time to a point is where I'm able and I'm familiar with a lot of things that you may not be, because that is something that I really enjoy doing. So when you find something that you really do love, make it yours. You know what I mean? So again, you have to find ways that it's going to benefit people who you're serving so that you know that you're doing something great. If you're doing something that's all about you, then that's a problem. But again, if you're in this position because you're really wanting to serve others that need notaries, then that is a good place to start from. Yes, Dave.
I've gone to a local package store and packaging store, not UPS or FedEx, and had them notarize something for me. And I felt like they were very thorough and they knew what they were doing. But can you briefly explain what types of things UPS notaries or if FedEx had notaries, what they were systematically, repeatedly doing wrong that you group them as bad actors?
Okay, so number one, the journal. They have this shared document that everybody signs and they do their initials, which is not a proper journaling tactic where people's information is privately covered. Everybody's information is exposed. The second one, they're not doing the administration of oath or affirmation. The majority of them will go through the process with a signer without having them under oath or affirmation when the document specifically say so. And I know this for a fact because there's 3 times that I became recommissioned and the person was not about to administer the oath or affirmation. And I had to stop them to say, okay, do you not see what this says on this particular part of the document? Now, you know, I'm a notary too, and you had the same document notarized. Do you not remember, or did they not administer an oath and affirmation to you before you actually signed this? So I need you to do this way before I sign anything, so you can make sure that we're good. And so one guy was very defensive and wanted to argue with me, and then I had to let him know that I don't mind reporting him to the Secretary of State that I do work closely with if he don't care about his commission, because that's something that came out of his mouth was, oh, I don't need his commission. Oh, no problem, I can help you with that. So again, when it comes to how people see you, you have to make sure that when it comes to you knowing something that is done incorrectly, if you can correct them. And again, it didn't have to be confrontational. I was trying to let him know as best as I possibly could, but because again, he chose to want to take it there with me. I just had to let him know that I'm not bothered by how he's coming for me, but I will do what I have to do to let him know I'm going to report him if he does not do this correctly. And so he changed his whole way of dealing with me up to do this the way it's supposed to be done. And again, I periodically do go just to check in to see if he's still doing what he's supposed to be doing because that's just who I am. So yeah.
You need to send in an undercover brother to see how he's acting with other people, because he knows you when you walk in the door.
And that may be something I can look into doing too. So yeah, thank you for that, Dave. And Sunita, you had your hand raised.
Or you can go in your Bridgerton outfit. He won't know who you are.
That would be very fun to see.
Yes, I have a statement and 2 short questions. So,
Okay.
in reference to all of the notaries in North Carolina, there are some employers where they want, their employee or certain employees to be a notary, and they hardly ever use it. They just like, oh, we need a notary. We're going to send you to class, whatever, so you can be, get certified as a notary and all of that. And then they hardly ever. So, in reference to that, there are a lot of notaries that don't even notarize. They're like, oh, I just got it because, my job wanted me to, and they're not active with it, so that's part of the, I guess, what, 187,000. So,
Yeah, I mean they're in that number. That's why
right.
I say many times the conviction that you have not to have to worry about it being saturated. It's all about you being available, visible, and making sure that you can actually be someone that someone can reach at a time they need a notary. Again, word of mouth is still gold at the end of the day, even though we have all the social media marketing. A lot of people don't mind referring you to others when they say, okay, I know such and such is going to look out for you. She was able to come and take care of what I needed, or he was able to handle this in the wee hours of the day or the morning. So, again, all those things can help when it comes to referrals. And to me, referrals are the biggest thank yous that I
Hmm.
can actually receive in this position just because I know others do appreciate what it is that I bring to the table.
Okay, thank you. Then this is just going to be my last question. So, far as the journal, would you
Mhm.
recommend having two separate journals, like for just general notary and then notary signing agent, or does it matter?
It does matter, and we're only supposed to have one journal for all entries.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And Letitia,
Yes, oh, sorry about that. I have a question about the annual conference. As far as the trainings, how in depth are they going to be? Is it going to be like your class was for the 2 days, or is it going to be a general overview of each class?
so my classes are a whole 2 days for what is going on with the North Carolina Notary Association conference. It's going to give a lot of in-depth information during that time that we're together on the different topics. So you should be able to still gather enough information to do something with it as far as how you can actually take advantage of the information you learn and apply it to your business, if that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, Sequilla.
Belinda, I am very interested in wanting to go to the conference, but I know that I can't go all 3 days. Um,
Okay.
I went on the site last night, just to see if they had like an itinerary as to what classes was going to be taught on certain days, because I may not be able to go until maybe I'm gonna try to go that Friday. If not, I know I'm gonna go Saturday, and I guess I just want to know what is going to be taught on that Saturday. And if I know what's going to be taught on that Friday, I definitely will make a way to take a day off, take that day off so that I can make it.
Okay. I would like for you to email membership@ncnotary.org. And as soon as we have everything broken down with the days and times that we can share, they can definitely make sure they send that information to you.
I'm sorry, you said membership.
Membership at the @ symbol ncnotary.org.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And Dave, did you have another question?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I need to.
You're all right. So I always try to lead with always be learning, because of course if you know me, that is the only way you can always, advance yourself is studying, looking into other things that can happen and broaden your horizons when it comes to your thought processes to elevate you to another area of life. So again, find ways that you can always challenge yourself to learn more. And if you are someone that is now looking at the replay, um, on our YouTube channel, I would love for you to subscribe, like, and share this with fellow notaries. Thank you for your support. This helps me be able to do free opportunities like this for those that are able to come and share time with us every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30. So again, please do like our channel, subscribe, and just take time to join us any Tuesday that you have the availability to do so. We would love to see you here. And once again, always be learning.